Hi there, my name is Tercy Engelhardt, and I'd like to welcome you to the Unreasonably Grateful podcast, Living in Grace by Choice. And every week, I say almost the same thing, some version of, I'm grateful that you're here. Thank you for being a part of my journey. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of yours. I don't take it for granted. I share my story because I benefited in my 39 years of recovery from listening to other people's stories. I found little tidbits or, wisdoms that inspired me and moved me on my own path. And it's my hope that by sharing my story, you'll hear something perhaps for the first time or the right time for you. And it'll open something up for you, give you a little bit more freedom, a little more wiggle room, move you further along your path of what I call recovery, which is recovering those broken off pieces of ourselves, those sort of shattered aspects of life that have maybe left us feeling guarded or defensive, wounded, you could say. And we're putting those parts back together again so that we can be who we were created to be, make the difference we were designed to make. And so that's why I thank you. I thank you because being a part of that journey with you is honoring. I had a podcast with a friend of mine, Joanna, years ago, and we called it Walking Each Other Home. And then, as part of an inspirational email that I got this last week, there's a quote by Ram Dass that says, "We're all simply walking each other home." And I was like, wow, I didn't even know that was something that Ram Dass had said or written. And so, anyway, I'm just reminded of that's what we're doing here. And it's just, an honor and a privilege to be able to do that with you. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. Whether you're new, you listen in occasionally, or you've been listening in for 251 episodes, which is what tonight's is. So, also on Tuesdays, I do individual sessions where I simply set aside the time for those of you who scheduled to listen and to watch, and then to share with you what I see and what I hear. And I'm always inspired by who shows up. And it's a broad range of people from all sorts of walks of life. And my first question is always, how did you find me? And it's fascinating to hear how not only someone finds me, but then they take the time to book a session and I get to sit with them. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to do that. And my experience is that people always get to see themselves in a bigger, better, more beautiful, more whole, more fulfilled view than the one they came in with. And I think that's important. Um, it's a beautiful opportunity. And if you're inspired by that, you can sign up on tercyengelhart.com underneath the topic Work Together. All right. So this particular episode is going to be released on the 29th. So just before the end of the year, before the beginning of the year, thus the topic. What are you leaving behind and what are you taking with you? So where that comes from is whenever my husband and I go on any kind of journey or trip before we return home, we ask each other that question. Because I think there's always this opportunity when you've been someplace new, done something new, been through a particular season or time, to reflect back and say, yeah, what am I letting go of? And what am I picking up? It's another way to say that. So I want you to look this week and see if you look back, if you reflect back on 2024, which I have to admit went really quickly, and you think about what are you going to leave behind? What are you setting down? What are you complete with? And then what are you taking with you? What have you gleaned? What have you gained? What insights have you had that you're taking with you into 2025? And you're going to be using that as a springboard into this next year and the journey that you're on, the healing that you're praying for, the life that you're creating. What's something you're bringing with you into that new, wide open year called 2025. So I've been thinking about that. And I had this really powerful dream just a few nights ago. So I'm going to share a little bit about that dream with you because I think it applies to a lot more than me. And it was some version of people from the past in my life and myself, and also the faith journey that I'm on and have been on. And the power of conviction, the power of what I believe happens. And everybody has different beliefs, or there's lots of different beliefs. And everybody believes whatever they believe. And I think I've talked with all of you about this, that I don't think we actually know what happens when we transition from this world into a spiritual world. But I do believe that wherever we feel a sense of conviction, we're also given an opening and an opportunity. There is the conviction, and then there's the forgiveness, and then there is the opening and receiving the unconditional love that heals that. And so in this particular dream, I don't know if I was looking back at past situations or relationships. Now, remember, I've come through abuse as a teenager, um, living with an eating disorder for 20 years, and then 39 years of recovery, and broken marriages and relationships, and the cleaning up of the lifestyle of addiction. And so lots to apologize for, lots to be forgiven for. And this, for me, there's this connection, there's this voice that's familiar with me, that I relate to as Jesus. And I heard that voice in this particular dream. And what I awoke into was the realization that the sum total of all of these infractions that I could rename or revisit in my life really stemmed from a wound of mistrust. And if I look back, I can see how that started so early on. Um, maybe I came in with it, but how that thread runs through my whole life. And I actually think, because now I have several people that I'm working with, sharing time with, and they too, I can see, are experiencing and healing themselves from this mistrust wound. And so that's what I'm letting go of, because what I saw in this dream was, and it kind of inspired last week too, where it's like, can we open up to receive love? How you let go of a wound is you let love into that wounded place. But if you have a wound of mistrust, it's tricky, because to let love into that wounded area, there is then to trust love. And if your wound is mistrust, then that is actually the healing process. So that's what I'm not going to go into it too much, but that's what I'm letting go of. I am actually going to let go of, as 2024 transitions into 2025, which would be my 74th year of life into my 75th year of life. And it'll also be my 40th year of recovery. What I'm going to let go of is mistrust. And that's what I'm leaving behind. And what I'm taking with me is, trusting love fully, completely. Trusting love, trusting the healing power, the wisdom, the guidance completely, and not second guessing it or following it only when, it's not that I feel like it, but following it only when I do trust it, but trusting it all the time. So that's the transition I'm making. So what I want you to do is see if you can look back at this past year and look for the underlying issues, the underlying lessons. And if I look back at my mistrust, I can see it in almost every single lesson, every single speed bump I run into, all of that, I can see that it was the mistrust that would come to the surface and have me defend or protect or argue or resist or whatever, as opposed to just opening up to that healing power of unconditional love. So look back and see if you can identify what it is, and then give it a name it so that it's something you can claim, and be willing to let go of it. Be willing to leave that behind and then look at, and what are you going to take with you? What are you leaving behind and what are you taking with you as we transition from 2024 to 2025? And the next time that I create a podcast, create an episode, will actually be in 2025. And I'm looking to see also, what do I want to shift or what do I want to change about the podcast or the episodes or the way I do it or any of that. And what I want that to align with is that I'm letting go of any mistrust I have about that particular process in my life. And I'm opening up to trusting the guidance of unconditional love. So in the meantime, have a beautiful, beautiful new year. And I can't wait to hear. I'd love to hear. So if you want to tell me what you're letting go of, and if you want to let me know what you're taking with you, you can always reach me at tercy@tercyenglehart.com. And I'd actually love to hear. And sometimes when you share and you write it and you put it down and you send it off, it actually takes root. It actually grabs a hold of you and your life in a new way. So I'd love to see and hear from you. And I hope you have a beautiful celebration and a great ending of 2024. And I'll be here waiting for you. Looking forward to seeing you in 2025. Have a beautiful, beautiful New Year's.